Rib flare and climbing. What we're going to do is talk about the postpartum considerations around rib flare, and then how does that apply to climbing? Why is it important to know about this for climbing? I really love this because this is literally what makes me so excited, is to take some of the data that we have around more just general recovery and then apply it specifically to climbing. All right, so rib flare. In general, rib flare means that the obliques, internal or external, have lost their leverage on the rib cage. We can have rib flare that is anterior to posterior, so that means the ribs flaring out a little bit more this way, or we can have a lateral rib flare where we have one rib that may be a little more out to one side than the other, and we can have a mixture of both sometimes, where we have a little bit more of an anterior and a lateral rib flare. So the human body is amazing and can do all sorts of stuff. All right, so how does this apply to climbing? Why is it important? When we are thinking about rib flare and climbing, what we want to think about it as is a pressure leak or a tension leak. We know that in climbing we need tension. We need the ability to generate tension. We need the ability to ebb and flow with tension. We don't always need to be stiff as a board, and we also don't always need to be like Gumby, unable to produce any tension at all. The rib flare is a problem for that, and here is why. When we have one rib that is flared either anterior to posterior or laterally, that means that that side of our body has lost some tension. It has lost some tension in its core because it is now unable to gain what sometimes we can here refer to as a zone of apposition, but I really just like to think of it as more of a stacked position or tension on that side of the body. So let's think about what would happen if I had more of a left rib flare, and let's just say it's anterior, so it's flaring out a little more this way, and I'm going for a hold, really trying to reach, and I need to be able to pull down and bring my leg up, okay? So I'm going up, the rib flares, so now that means that all of this core musculature is already more extended right here. Then when I go to try and pull down, I'm already in a more lengthened position, and so I may not have the ability to fully generate the tension here that I need to then be able to support bringing my leg up and completing the rest of the movement. So it is just part of what can impact our ability to generate the tension, the strength necessary, the power necessary to complete certain movements on the wall. So do we worry about our rib flare on the wall? No. No. We're not going to think about that while we're climbing. But what we're going to do is look at it off the wall, address it through some of our strength training, certainly through some of our breathing, so that when we are on the wall, we're able to create that leverage with the obliques and we're not leaking tension here. And we're able to manage pressure and force really well on that side of our abdomen. All right, I hope this all made sense to you. It makes sense in my brain, but I'd love to know your thoughts on it. And if you have any other questions, or if you want to dive into it a little bit more and nerd out with me, because I am literally in a little rowboat talking to myself about all of this stuff when it comes to postpartum considerations for climbing. All right, that's it for now. I'll see you in the next lesson.